So now let's do a quick deck breakdown of Magnolia, the first deck of Stoichea, which combines Zoo and Magnolia based off Bermuda. So Magnolia is a multi-attack based deck currently available and features this great nature-like art. So what they focus on is generally having a very aggro game and finishing a Magnolia's big turn, which is able to grant 3 units in a back row, additional 5000 power, and the ability to attack from back row. So this brings up the total number of attacks in a turn from a typical 3 or 4 if we're basic Magnolia to 6. So this one makes the deck very powerful. It's able to kill from very early on, and it takes advantage of the lower shield value more than any other deck in my opinion, although it's a little bit inconsistent. So let's go through some stuff. So this 3-0 is normal. Then we have Cherries over here. So this will be your main card in the back row on your early stages of the game. So what it does is, the second skill is when it's in the back row and it attacks, it gains 5k, so it's 13k. So you combine it with Magnolia's first skill to give 5k, it becomes an 18k attacker. Then the second skill is when you ride Lattice over Cherries, you just basically Spear Call the top card for a deck. If it's a grade 2 unit, yeah. If it's an order or grade 3, goes to the soul. Very good for aggro. And just, even it was his soul. Then we have Lattice over here. So this is the grade 2 of the right deck. So what it does is, when you ride Magnolia over him, you can soul +1 to Spear Call the top card for a deck. Generally any grade is called it out. And the order I think goes to the hand, yeah. Generally another way to do advantage. So technically if this right line alone, just by reading up 1 soul plus, you get 2 free cards. Or 1 free soul, I don't know. The Magnolia skill is con +1 and battle the attack. Shoot 1 of your units, give it 5k, and give it the ability to run the back row. If you persona ride this turn, so this is only available turn 4, which is one of the deck's major weaknesses. You basically can choose 3 units instead of the one as I mentioned before. So with that overview, let's then go straight through to the deck profile. Let's break it down. So right deck, of course I explained before. So it's a persona right based deck. Of course we run persona rights self-explanatory. Then for the core cards I like to highlight is actually this card over here. So this card is Eliana, I think. So this card's a key card in the deck for sure, and it allows you to revive cards on the drop zone. So essentially this is what allows you to play very aggressive early games. If you're familiar with the old days, think of it like a sword me or something. So you call it out, come +1 to +1, you call a grade 2 or less from the drop zone, and give 5k. This skill only works when this card's called from hand, but in the early game, this spawns crazy numbers, and remember, you always have cards in the drop zone that you want because of the right deck, so you can quickly revive the grade 1 like this. And give 5k, make it a 10k booster, and push it to the front. So if you're playing a deck like Kid Century, you can rush it very hard. Or against other decks, you just commit a bit more, you can hit harder. So definitely a 4 off in my opinion, as it creates quantity for rush treasuries for Magnolia. Also later in the game, if you're more plus, you can replace dead cards you call with cards like Adromantis or even this one over here, which I'll get into later. So this is your staple card, your kind of engine to rush with along the right deck. Then we have Sylvan Beast Kings. If basically if you got 4 other regards, if you have a full field, it gets 5k during both play turns, making a 15k mistake. So this is a card you want generally anywhere in the back row, in the front row. In the front row is a 15k, with person right 25k. In the back row is a 15, but if Magnolia is a 20. It's 10, yeah. 20, yeah. Right. So why you make it 20k is that because of the grade 1 losing shield value, and generally everyone's playing 5k shields or triggers, a 10k card actually demands either 2 cards or a trigger, which is really high for a kind of low attack. So having 6 of this person, your opponent either going to throw 6 triggers or 6 triggers. Just considering a 1 to positive Vanguard, or you're going to throw like 7-8 cards, or just die here. That's why you play Dugo. The cost is free too, so this makes it very good for the deck. As you've seen, Counterblast being used by this and Eleanor. Then we have the bear, yeah, so this card's kind of a staple for the deck, not a high amount, but what it does is count +1 when it declares an attack, and it's in the back row, so you must give it the skill through Magnolia. You're able to choose one other regard and give it this unit's power. So what you usually do is pump triggers onto this unit, and if it attacks, you give the power to the other stronger unit. So in Magnolia, at base is 15k, you can pump trigger with 25k. So immediately 25k attack from the back row, you give another unit 25k. So let's say it's like, quality is 20k, right? 25, 35. That's already like burning a lot of cards from your hand for one more blast. It's a good way to extend combos, hit or buff damage triggers, and just stealing games. 4 is a little too much because it's not really strong, because the combat 1 cost can be add up and be denied with this deck. Then you have two more letters, but it's okay. It's a Vanguard, it's a boss 1, basically if he attacks you may give it 10k from the right row. Pretty okay. It's a backup attacker. Those 2 discards, but still a pretty solid one in its own right. Then 3 cherries, I discard this, your main grade one you wanna go to the back row. 4 perfect guards, self-explanatory. Then the 2 different tag day ones. So these are Adamantist. So when you place, you give one other regard and feel 5k power. So this helps you push perfect numbers again. So it helps your 20k to hit 25, helps your 18k to hit 23. So this generally helps you to push magic numbers. Early game called to rush. You can revive it if this little one, or in the one tag slot here. Yeah. Then the 2 clean cards from Festival Collection, which is Z01. So this card's really interesting. It cannot be ridden, so you can't play right deck. You want to get some cheesy plays like that, you can't. But it says boost, no chill value, but it can only be placed in the center column of the back row. So generally, if you see this, you also want to call it by the Vanguard because it's the only way you can call it out. But when it's there, your Magnolia column is a free 28k column already, if you call it the full skill. Or you can attack with it first and give it 5k, making it 20k, which is just as strong as Duga, which is our most consistent attacker. It's a very strong card from Magnolia. Despite the no shield value, if you're able to end the game quickly, this can quickly steamroll the bad situation for your opponent. Now for the tech slots, there are 2 Ghost Chase, which is a Blitz Order. So it's a great Blitz Order. When you guard with it, you can return a unit that's not being attacked back to your hand. Then give this card 5k shield. So this card is used to, if you revive anything, let's say you can revive, let's say you just draw this, you revive a Magnolia or something. If you have Magnolia, you can bounce it back. Yep, that counts. You can bounce back Perfect Guards, you revive through Eleanor or this thing. Or just pick out a trigger you might have caught early on with the right deck. Very helpful card for Magnolia. Clutch plays. Let's say you call the over trigger out, put it back to the hand, you got a big shield there. Yeah. Generally opposed have flexible plays for the deck. Then yeah. Spiritual Body Condensation, so +1. This is a tech slot more than anything, but I think it's pretty good. So +1, revive a card with the same grade or less than your Vanguard and give 5k power. So it's generally a way to get anything you want. He gets 5k too, so he also make that interval for 20k which you really want for the deck. Then for triggers, yeah, he's gone for 8 crit, 3 front, 1 over trigger, and 4 heals. All falls, of course. You're wondering why no draw, right? Because like that's my first thing to ask, like, why don't you play draws? Like, isn't that important for piece resigning deck? Yeah, it does, but I feel the advantage you get from this, having the aggro triggers really help the deck be more consistent in terms of aggression. Also, defensive fronts are really helpful to make sure you survive. Make sure your front row survives the turn. As a common problem for this deck is argument shots like Prison, or just very retire focus strategies can give the deck a bit of trouble at times. So generally the idea of this lineup is to just kill or be killed. Then the over trigger is here, which is Bless Favor, I think, yeah. So this basically over trigger 100 million power. You could play the generic Albarian, which gives 300 million, but this card's utility is stronger. It gives you basically when it activates additional draw, crit, front, heal effects. Yeah, the heal's a bit different, but you get the idea. So offensively, this will win you the game. Extra crits, extra power, extra 100 millions. Yeah. Why you play this instead of that was this is never bad when you check it. With Albarian, if you check it, but 2 damage, you're gonna take it anyway. But this can actually win games. like not in games, it's more useful at any phase of the game. Yeah, so with that, I'll break this down and I'll show you some basic final turn feels with it. In terms of mulligan, generally you want to keep these two cards as your main advantage engines. And of course, personal right, which is a major win condition. Everything else is just anything you can rush with. So let's say you're contesting the game. Okay, not bad. We can call it to rush. So let's stand and draw. Let's throw like this out. Right cherries and turn. Then we check. Stand and draw. Okay, like here, look at this. No, it's not too bad, right? Let's see you want to go more aggro, right? Let's throw this away. Write this. Put on skill. Spirit Call. Adamant is pretty unfortunate. But still 8k booster. Okay, call this out here. Call this out here. Combat 1. Combat 1. Call the out back. Give it 5k. So this is already like some good numbers like 8, 20, 5, 23. See, like get swing. Yeah. Size pretty small. Then yeah, pretty much hit Vanguard. Stand draw. Throw this. Magnolia. Then this is Sylvan 1. Yeah, Sylvan 1. Oh, this is 3. Yep, Sylvan 1. Great call. Okay, go to hand. Yep. This is more how the deck plays. Maybe something like this. Okay, let's not call that out. Let's call that this out. Yeah, that's better. Swing. Check, second check. Crit power, something like that. Then it comes 1. 5k, attack. Then during next turn, you want to clean check with the person on the right turn. So let's get to that turn. Yep, let's see something like this, right? Okay, so now we stand and draw. To the right. Give it 10k power to the front row. Draw 1. So now, you make him also to make intervals of 10k at the worst. So immediately, this is going out of the picture. We have the bear now. So let's call the bear there. So yeah, so let's think about this. Okay. It's pretty okay. So it's in for 33k. First check crit. Pump all the crit effects on the bear. Second check. Then the bear attacks. Combats 1. You give all the power to this. So this actually gain 15k power, right? Now this also gain 15k power. Plus the 5k from the skill. So this is gain 20k. Then this will get 5k from this. Yep. This is this. This you hit with this. You hit with this. Then this, of course, gets 10k. Generally, a very straightforward deck. Not much to say about it. A weakness of the deck is if you can deny the damage enough and has a way to end the game in one shot. So decks like Final Rush and Varina can actually control damage pretty well against this deck. Which is fair, very good against it. This deck capitalizes on slower decks in the format. They don't have much ways to control you. So Magnolia is very strong overall, very fast aggro deck, somewhat inconsistent, but even if it's worse, 4 attacks a turn is still really good without personal right. So with that, my closing thoughts is, if you want a relatively cheap deck which can compete the meta game, and yeah, this is probably the deck for you. Its multi-attack strikes is really among the strongest in the game. Although you do get cucked by damage triggers, so yeah, play it with that in mind. So Magnolia, if I were to give it a rating, I'll say it's like high mid. It has some really good matchups, especially against Bestren. But at the same time, it has really poor matchups when its own internal weaknesses come back and bite it. Now with that, I'll see you next time with Hexor, I think.